I've been running my business for over 2,000 days. Here's every single important thing that I learned from the very beginning till today. Hi friends, my name is Monica and I own a small business and I've been running it since 2019. I make content all about the behind the scenes of that business, plus all the cozy, crafty, creative, fun other things that I do. But my small business is my baby, and the other day, it was a couple months ago actually, I celebrated 6 years of running the business and I was like, how many days is that? Turns out it's over 2,000 days of being consistent with running my small business. I learned quite a lot in that time. And so in honor of 6 years running my business, I thought I would share with you the 6 most important, best, most helpful, and most impactful things that I learned while going through the small business owner journey. For some background, for the most part, I've been running a handmade goods small business that is focused on sustainability and home goods. I'm based in New Jersey, and I started my business right after I graduated college. My business has shifted a whole bunch throughout the different years. I started out with simple little crafts like making scrunchies, to making candles, to upcycled clothes, to making original apparel, dabbling in polymer clay art, dabbling in wall prints. All to end up here where I'm actually now not just solo hand making all my products, but also working with other amazing artists to help me create the products that really make my brand come to life. I am based in my home here in central New Jersey, and as of last year, I've been doing this whole small business owner thing full time. Whether you are just starting out with your business or you were deep diving in the middle of it, whether you're 6 years in, 60 years in, oh my gosh, if any of you are like 30 plus years into running your business, please comment down below. That's incredible. But no matter where you are in your small business journey, I feel like there's definitely something to learn, literally all the time, every single day. So sit back, relax, let me know which one of these lessons resonates most with you. And without further ado, let's get started. Lesson number 1 that I learned in my 2,000 plus days of running a small business is to always build the best solution to someone's problem. I used to think that this businessy concept didn't apply to me because I make crafty, creative, fun, artistic, cute little trinket things for the girlies. You know, my candles not solving anyone's problems is what I thought. A little scrunchy, not solving any world problems. But in order for customers to be really interested in the products you have to offer time and time again, to come back and repeat buy things, to share your business with their friends, follow you on social media, and to continue to follow you through your journey, in order to gain that kind of customer base and community and sustained growth, you really do need to be solving your customers' problems. Now, their problems can be really big or really small. When I walk through markets, I see so many really cool inventions, solutions, the most unique ideas ever being sold. And I'm like, wow. Give yourself a pat on the back. That's amazing. But most of us who are just creating crafts, and especially with handmade goods, are not necessarily coming up with brand new inventions that we can patent and that we could trademark. We're usually creating products that have previously existed in the world, but that doesn't mean that the products that we create are not solutions to people's problems. So for example, my very first product I ever made, which I do actually still sell today, is a scrunchie. Just a plain old scrunchie. We've heard of it, we know of it, we love it. Everyone and their mother sells scrunchies. But what made my scrunchies ever so slightly unique or different, catered to a niche group of people and solved a small problem that people had that they didn't necessarily know that they did have, is that I only made my scrunchies out of dead stock or repurposed or recycled fabric. That concept probably also exists somewhere else in someone else's small business or big business. But the fact that in my local community, in my little group of friends and family, I didn't know anyone who was hand making sustainable scrunchies meant that I was able to stand apart from the group that I was considering my customer base and solving this little problem that they didn't have access to sustainable scrunchies, and now they do through me. So that might seem frivolous and like, girl, there are businesses out there that are solving such bigger problems than you. That's a-okay, but having the mindset that you are indeed the solution to a customer's teeny tiny problem sets you apart from another business that is just trying to sell products for the sake of selling products. A lot of times with our handmade goods small businesses, the solution comes before the problem. I went and decided to create candles as my next product because I thought it would be fun. I wasn't necessarily thinking of customer when I was making that piece of art because I just wanted to make it for myself. And then through the process of making that product, I realized I could probably sell it and have it be part of my shop. I feel like that's how most of us end up coming up with products to sell. But the way I have this pre-existing product transform into a solution for a customer is basically through marketing, through how I discuss the product, through how I photograph the product, through how I portray the product in the customer's mind. There were so many times in my small business journey where I just thought my product wasn't good enough, or I thought maybe I wasn't good enough, my business wasn't good enough because my products weren't selling. But most of the time, I just needed to talk about my products in a different way or shed a new light on them in a different way in order for customers to be able to look at the same exact product in a different way and be like, you know what? You're right. This will definitely help you realize the true value of what you have to offer instead of letting those imposter syndrome thoughts kick in. It's very easy to let your little brain say, you're just making bracelets. You're just making, I don't know, crocheted coasters. You're just making little things. Nobody cares. But if you yourself know as a business owner why your product is a unique factor amongst all the different competition out there, then you will always be able to justify why your business exists and why you should keep moving forward. Quick side note, if you're trying to brainstorm here and you really can't think of anything that's unique about your product, or you just can't think of a problem that your product solves, then consider you yourself as the maker, as the creator of the product. Are you part of marginalized community? Are you part of maybe an age group of people who don't typically make this thing? If you make jewelry, do you make jewelry that is inspired by someone in your life? All those make your product, your creation unique because you as the creator of the product are a unique person. Especially in the beginning of a business, it's very hard to separate the small business and the small business owner, and I think that's something you should take advantage of. Moving on to lesson number 2 that I learned in the 2,000 plus days of running this business is to create more and consume less. Oh my gosh, guys, I still get myself in this rabbit hole of Pinterest and scrolling on TikTok, Instagram. Oh my goodness, it's a problem. But I am a lot better than I was in the beginning. In the beginning, I would psych myself out of making anything in the name of doing research. Oh, let me just watch one more YouTube video on how to sew this style of skirt. Let me just look up one more piece of inspiration on Pinterest. Let me just follow more people who live these dream small business owner lives that I want to live, and so I can get more inspiration off of them. And then months pass and you never actually created anything because you were too busy trying to gain inspiration and motivation from the online world instead of just going out and creating things imperfectly. When it comes to starting, done is better than perfect. We can go back and make changes and adjustments later. As inspiring as other small business owners are online, and I'm speaking about myself as well, if you need to pause this video, pause whatever inspirational video you're watching right now, tutorial, whatever it is, if you need to pause it and come back to it later and take this moment right now to go and start your business, go and start that new product, please go do that. There's no certain amount of good enough inspiration you can take from the online world, because at the end of the day, only thing that's going to produce results, like true genuine results, is you going and actually starting to create. Prime example right here. I just literally have this one business card, not that big of a deal. Do you know how long it took me to go and get business cards for my business? Probably a year. For some reason, I operated my business for the longest time without ordering business cards because I just went back and forth with what should the style be, what company should I go with to get the business card. Spoiler, I ended up going with Vistaprint and I recommend them. But you can go forever just gaining more knowledge and figuring out the best solution for whatever you're trying to figure out. But in order to make progress, you gotta just do it. You gotta just sit down and do it. And it's okay if it ends up looking bad or if you need to make changes later. That doesn't mean you made a huge mistake and that you'll have regrets. The only difference between a small business owner who's living the life you want to live and where you are right now is that they got started, made a ton of mistakes, had a lot of failures, felt embarrassed a whole ton, and eventually got to where they are. And there's no way around that path. There's no zigzagging around it. Like, you just need to do that very first thing that will propel you forward. When it comes to getting started or revamping your small business or growing, one thing I definitely recommend to help you get in that starter mindset is to definitely get a website for your business. As legit or not legit as you feel like your business is, setting up an online presence and a website is so important. It can really boost your ego and just boost the way you think about yourself as a small business. And then it also comes in handy because you never know when you might blow up on TikTok. People go and search you up. Turns out you don't even have a website, you know? When it comes to actually setting up your website, you want to have a memorable and reliable domain name. There's so many options out there, but what I recommend if you're starting off today is to get a .online domain name. And thank you to .online for sponsoring this this portion of the video. A .online domain is the world's second new largest domain name extension with over 3.4 million active domains all over the world. It's great for SEO, which is search engine optimization, meaning you'll show up a lot more when people search your keywords, just because the word online is searched over 500 million times a month. And no matter what type of business you have, whether it be a handmade goods business like mine, it could be a tech startup, it could be service-based, it could be educational, it could be really anything. A .online domain really suits any sort of niche. Radiate.online is a cute online business selling kombucha, and their website just stands out to me more because of that unique domain name. If you have like a specific website name in mind, it's also really helpful because more likely than not, you'll be able to reserve the actual website name that you want with a .online domain without it already being reserved by someone else. So I know getting started is always the hardest part, but starting off on the right foot is really a game changer. So I would recommend a .online domain in order for your domain to be memorable to you and also to your customers. If you are interested in getting your own .online domain name, you can actually do so today for just 99 cents when you use the code Monica and use the link in the description below. Thank you again to .online for partnering with me in this portion of the video. Lesson number 3 that I learned in my 2000 plus days of running the small business is to embrace the setbacks. Every single thing that happens in this journey is a learning opportunity. Every single bad thing that happens, every single failure, every single loss of profit, every single failed market, every single failed product launch, it's all good if you just shift your perspective and consider everything as a learning opportunity. For example, when I first started my business in 2019, we know what comes out of 2019, it's 2020. And so I could have used the entire pandemic when people are not really buying too much because they're trying to save their money. Lots of people are losing their jobs. I could have used that time to just not start my business and to not continue to have it grow, put it on pause, maybe do more research, maybe perfect products. But instead I used that setback that I really could not control and use it to my advantage. Whenever I set up at a market and then it starts pouring rain, or I could tell by the vibes of the day that really not that many people are going to come, and then I end up being right by the end of the day. I had lost money because of the vendor fee. It's easy to go home grumpy and to just complain and to swear to never do markets ever again. Whenever I have a failed product launch, which has happened many a time for me, it's easy to say I should just move on to something else. Maybe I should focus on like a different career. Maybe I should scrap candles altogether and make something else. It's easy to take setbacks as proof that you aren't good enough, or your products aren't good enough, your business isn't good enough. What's harder, but what's more important, is to sit there, take a step back from the situation, analyze what happened, and then take the pieces of it that you can learn from and do better next time. Because no matter what, no matter how much you think you can control, there's like 3x the amount of other things that you cannot control. This also helps with optimism and just keeping like, I don't know, your sanity. The goal as a business owner is to thrive. Survive, obviously, but definitely thrive, stay consistent, and to also go the distance, like exist in this world for as long as possible. And anything that helps your mental state and your optimism and the way you feel about yourself and your business will do wonders for how long your business ends up lasting in the long run. Whenever I attend a market and I don't make any sales, or I make way less sales than I thought I would make, that gives me an opportunity to look at my booth setup and maybe reimagine the way it looks. Maybe that's why people weren't approaching, or maybe I could take a look at the people who are walking by and acknowledge, okay, maybe this isn't my target demographic. Maybe I need to do more markets that are on this side of town where there are more families with children, because that's what my products cater more towards. I think every opportunity, every success and failure leaves you a little bit more informed and therefore makes you a little bit wiser. And it's better to go through those setbacks and those negative moments than to have never tried at all. And the last thing I'll say on this is that I think the goal, low key, for all of us small business owners is to not give up and quit. Every time I hit a setback, there's like a teeny tiny voice in the back of my head that says, why don't you just quit? It would be a lot less heartbreaking if you just quit. But being able to reframe those setbacks and take control of how you feel about them and take them as learning experiences and as funny stories you can tell later on when you're ultra successful, that's what's gonna get you to not quit and live to see another day as a small business owner. Lesson number 4 is find your people. They exist, I promise. This lesson comes twofold. The first is when it comes to your customer base, your audience, your community. There are 8-something billion people in the world. If you have 100 followers on Instagram and no one's buying your stuff, that's okay. There's 8 billion other people out there, and you just have to go and find them and access them somehow. Going back to my example of being at a market that didn't really pull in your target demographic of people who would typically buy your stuff, it doesn't mean mean your products are bad or that you need to change anything. You might just need to move over a couple streets, a couple cities, maybe go around the block to like a coffee shop that's more your vibe. Find your people. They're out there, they exist. Now you just need to find your unique group of people who love your creations just as much as you do. It's easy to try to want to appeal to the masses and to try to get everyone to like your stuff, because even like as humans, like as a person, like I want everyone to like me. It's like that natural thing as a kid when like someone doesn't want to be your friend, you're like, what's wrong with me? I need to make them like me. Especially if you're a people pleaser. It's tough out here. And I think the key to a really good small business and a genuine small business that makes you happy as a business owner and that also makes customers happy is for you to create the thing that you love and that's valuable to people, and then going and finding those people who already know and appreciate how good and valuable your stuff is. Trying to convince everyone and their mother your stuff is valuable is tiring and kind of unnecessary. I talk a lot about sustainability with my business, and there are a lot of resources out there to convince people that being eco-friendly is a good option. There are a lot of like nature documentaries out there. There's a lot of articles out there to convince people that sustainability is like a good thing. And to a certain extent, I do also try to inform my customers of the sustainable things that my business does and why they're important. Most of the time, I'm not trying to convince anyone of something. I'm trying to find the people who already know. Some ways to do this are definitely on social media, in your online presence, to really just like give off the vibe of whatever you're trying to give off. If you're like a dark gothic kind of aesthetic, obviously all of your posts, all of your product photos should be like a dark academia, like really low light. It's like Halloween time, like dig into that. When you have a market booth set up, make sure everything's dark and a little bit mysterious and fits the aesthetic, because that'll pull in the people who are like, ooh, yeah, that's my vibe. I'm gonna go towards that. Instead of trying to stand out here and convince people that darker aesthetics are better than brighter aesthetics. This should also help you feel better about your products, because knowing that your product does cater to someone helps just give you that little bit of hope that, okay, my stuff's good and the people are out there, just gotta go find them. I can spend a full like 3 videos talking about how to get people to find you, especially on social media, doing social media marketing, connecting with in-person people, and then doing email marketing after that. I'll save all those details for another video, but the point here is you won't please everyone, and that is a-okay. The second part of this find your people, they're out there, I promise, kind of lesson is when it comes to your entrepreneurial goals and your friends and the people you surround yourself with. It can be so lonely starting a small business, especially if you're the first one in your friend group and your family to kind of think about doing this, especially when it comes to the artistic stuff. Like, I feel like we can all just understand the feeling of, I don't know, crocheting a keychain or making like a little beaded necklace and showing it to our friends, be like, look what I made, I'm selling it for like $7, and all your friends are like, oh, that's so cute. Like, you can tell they want to be supportive, but they also don't get it fully. Thankfully, I think especially post-COVID, there's so many communities online of entrepreneurial girlies who are doing this thing that is owning a crafty creative small business. So I encourage you to not just look within your own personal IRL life for that kind of like emotional support that you need in order to keep moving forward and progressing in your small business, but also look online. Obviously, I think my community is the best, if I do say so myself, here in the comments. But there are also so many other small business owners on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, who all give really inspiring talks, who just make you feel like you belong and that your dream is actually relatable. But if you are able to meet some new friends at markets that you do, if you talk to other vendors and become friends with them, those relationships are life-changing, because you can actually complain about the things you want to complain about being a small business owner, and have someone who actually gets it respond back. Lesson number 5 that I learned from running my small business for over 2,000 days is to try everything. I find that this is something I have to tell myself more and more often the further along I get in my small business owner journey, because I have convinced myself that apparently I know everything. I catch myself saying things like, oh, I'm not going to do wholesale because I don't have time for that. Or, oh, I'm definitely not going to introduce that product to my store because it doesn't fit the vibe of what I'm going for and I don't think customers will like it. I'm not signing up for that market because, I don't know, I just have a feeling. Try everything. Don't try to convince yourself of something until you go and try it for yourself. There's so many surprises out there. The amount of businesses that start off with one product and maybe have a few other side products, turns out one of those small minuscule side products ends up being like the winner. It's like crazy the amount of times that happens. For example, I didn't think that my candles would be like the best seller of my entire shop. I thought it would be the original handmade apparel because I think that's what I wanted it to be. But when you look at the numbers, you sit down and actually see how much inventory is leaving the shelves, who's paying for what. My candles were always sold out. And I was like, all right, I was proven wrong. Thank you guys. Try everything. Sell in person, sell online, even if you don't think one of those two things is for you. If you are physically able to sign up for markets and to do a market, I 100% recommend you try that and try 10 different times. If the first time it fails, try a second. That time it fails, try a third. Try selling online. Like we said with creating that website, put your products up online, try promoting it on different platforms. You can sign up for Fair, which is a wholesale platform, and you can just do wholesale. You can reach out to your retailers that are in your local community, see if they want to hold some of your products in their shop. But I do caveat this little lesson with make sure that the things you sign up for yourself are manageable. Don't say yes to everything and then do everything poorly. That won't be good for the ego, and it also will be disappointing in the long run. But when given the opportunity to try something new, always consider it. Last example I'll give for this is that I recently launched my matcha collection, which is something I always thought about doing, but I am a primarily handmade goods small business, and these would be products that I personally did not hand make. I worked with a ceramic artist to make these products. That was a whole brand new thing that I introduced for my shop. I wasn't sure how people would react to it. I wasn't sure how I felt about it. I'd never tried doing it before though. So I said, you know what, let me just try. Let me see. Let's see how it goes. I sold out in like 4 minutes. I felt so proud of that collection because I still had design input. I was still able to support and work with an independent artist. And it ended up actually, that whole experience gave me so many more ideas as to what I can do with my business and expand. There are other times I try things and they're huge flops, but at least I tried it and I learned something from it. In addition to markets, the one other thing I would highly, highly, highly recommend everyone do if you're up for it is starting a YouTube channel / vlogging on any platform. I know content creation is different than running a small business, but what I notice when it comes to being a small business owner specifically compared to bigger businesses, customers just care so much more about your story and what's going on behind the scenes, how you're making the thing, where you're making the thing, how you feel about making the thing, what your personality is like, what your story is. So I view content creation, especially vlogging, especially the behind the scenes stuff, as like the backbone of my customer community. Obviously my channel is for anyone, especially other small business owners who want to watch how I go and run my business, but it's also for customers to come and see like, okay, Monica does make everything. Look at her. In this vlog, she literally made everything. Or when I go and vlog a launch day, a customer can go and see like, oh, she really, truly, genuinely cares about these products and she discussed them with such passion. I want to support a business who cares so much about their customers and their products in that way. So if you're up for it, I highly recommend. And lesson number 6 that I learned in my 2,000 plus days running this small business is to analyze, acknowledge, and adjust. Always. This is basically the TLDR of this entire video. Everything moves so fast, but also so slow at the same time. Once you find something that works for your business, maybe it's that one winner product that's going to be a bestseller and you're like, awesome, I can always rely on this one product to sell. Just as fast and easily as that happens, the switch could happen and then all of a sudden it doesn't sell at all. Being able to adapt and adjust and to keep moving forward, to not take anything too personally, and to keep experimenting, keep creating, that's hard, but it's also the thing that will help set you apart. Depending on the kind of personality that you have, it might be easy or hard to analyze and kind of give yourself constructive criticism when it comes to your business. It's important to not be overly critical because you're just a girl. You're just a girl running a business. But then also it's important to be realistic and say, okay, this product could be better. I could make it better. I could use more expensive materials, which is an investment and tough to justify, but it will help me do better in the long run. It's hard to kind of discuss that kind of stuff with yourself. When customers give you bad feedback or they give you a critical review, it's hard to look at those words and to take those words positively, whether they might be a hater and just trolling and everything they have to say is false, or they're actually true maybe there are some flaws in your shipping process or in the actual product itself, it's important to acknowledge all of the feedback that you're getting from anyone and to sort it into different piles in your head and to take action when you need to and to dispose of the bad feedback when you don't need it. And there's also no such thing as getting comfortable. There's no such thing. Nope. As business owners, we have to look forward to every single season in the future and prepare way in advance. There's never really a time for a break, like a true break. So there's this cycle of just continuing to create and to adjust and to analyze and to keep going on and on. And what a privilege that is to get to work on our own creative stuff forever. I've learned a million, bajillion, and one more things over the past 6 years, 2,000 plus days, but these were the most important that really stuck out to me that I think about all the time. These are the pieces of advice that I give anyone and everyone who will listen. All those other little things that kind of happen in between these lessons, yes, they're important, but it's easy to get caught up in the details of being a small business owner, and I always find it more impactful to always think of the bigger picture. So these are the 6 lessons that I learned, and I'm very happy I learned them. I'm excited to learn more, to make more mistakes, and to fail more, and to be sad and frustrated, and to be a small business owner. It's the best and the worst time at all times. Thank you for supporting me and my small business for the past 6 years. If you've been around, whether you joined 6 years ago, 3 years ago, a month ago, today, during this video, I appreciate you and your support, and I wish you the best in all of your small business owner journeys. Put all of your questions and comments in the comments section. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.